thanking us for this, our first in a series of webinars that we'll be hosting moving forward. And we hope you enjoy the session. Today we're looking at a very important topic, which is basically some of the things you want to be looking out for when you're moving from CAD into building information modeling. And of course, the platform of choice in this case would be Revit. I'm an applications engineer, architect by training, based in Nairobi, Kenya. Technologies who are preferred, actually sole value add distributor for Autodesk across the African continent. With me today is Zoe, who is our marketing manager in charge of Greater Africa. She's based in South Africa.
So, housekeeping, could you please all mute your microphone so that everyone can hear clearly and that we can block any background noise? Note that this is being recorded at the moment and will be posted on our YouTube page. Further communications will be sent to you. If you have any questions, please send them via chat and we will respond at the end of the Q&A session. You to continue, please.
Thanks, Zoe. So, easily going to be looking at two things. We're going to look at one of Autodesk's premier offering for architecture, engineering, and construction industries, which encompasses, building, structure, natural resources, piping, etc. Now, then for that we'll look at how to make the transition from AutoCAD to Revit, and we'll have a Q&A. Obviously, for purposes of clarity for everyone, we asked you to mute, so we'll be taking any verbal questions. Kindly send yours via chat function, and we will respond to them at the end of this session. So you've all no doubt heard of Autodesk, which essentially is a software solution company that set out to offer solutions to professionals like yourselves, architects, engineers, guys who make stuff well. Here is to offer you tools that help you to imagine, design, and create a better world. And we offer that through various data-driven processes and the fields of manufacturing. You can see there the Tesla Model X with the famous wing doors. See now on the right of your screen, you have the Shanghai, Beijing skyline. Sorry, we have the Shanghai Tower, the tallest building in the world, and other buildings in that picture, by the way, designed using Autodesk products. You've got structure as well. Bottom left, you've got the suite canal, and also we do play a significant role media and entertainment. There on the bottom right, here a clip from the many Hollywood blockbusters that Autodesk products have been used to. Now, one of the key processes, data-driven processes processes that we drive, our products help you to drive, is building information modeling. And information modeling as a process essentially is meant to help you be more productive, whether it be in terms of winning new work, or in terms of delivering higher quality design, or work more efficiently, or even just being able to go out there and offer more services, more billable services to your clients, simply because you have the appropriate tools to do the job at hand. And speaking of tools that allow you to indulge in building information modeling, Autodesk offer what we call the industry collections. No doubt you know we offer individual products like AutoCAD, Revit, Navisworks, just to name three out of the more than 200 products that Autodesk offers. But really, the industry, what we call is workflow, because one works in isolation. So what Autodesk did is to offer tools that essentially allow you, or rather came up with an offering that allows you to completely access that allows you to indulge in a complete workflow, whether it be architecture, engineering, and construction, whether it's media and entertainment, whether it be product design, in product design and manufacturing. And the idea with these so-called collections is give you greater value for your money and give more flexibility and choice in terms of how you access Autodesk software, and to simplify your choices in terms of accessing software. I've mentioned that Autodesk offer more than 200 solutions for the different industries. I'm getting quite a bit of feedback from one of the participants. Kindly mute your microphone. These are the three ideas behind packaging these solutions in collections. And the idea behind them is to allow you to you get all the right tools in one package. Integrate your workflows, because as I said, collaboration is a key thing, especially for some of the larger projects. Although to be even, there is really projects that I've ever been involved in that I worked completely on my own. So collaboration is always, something that you want to be looking at. And then the idea of having tools that look forward to the future, so that you're always up to date in terms of what is being offered. And behind the suites, the collections, the suites are a previous offering that was discontinued. If we EC collection, the architecture, engineering, and construction collection, essentially what you get is a suite of products, as you can see on your screens. You've got your Revit, your InfraWorks, your AutoCAD Civil 3D, and these products allow the different professionals involved in different projects to come together and work on a unified platform, yet with their specialized tools. For example, it was to take a team that's putting up a building. That they probably use Revit as their primary authoring platform in your 3D modeling, and documentation, and even collaboration. But you would maybe the surveyor or civil engineer is on the Civil 3D platform, where do their survey and capture that data in the form of a Civil 3D file. We can share with probably the architect who then does their design proposal within the context of that topo, who then share with the civil, with the structural and mechanical engineers who work on the Revit platform to develop the proposal into something that's buildable. Probably it was a steel framed building. You'd then move it to advanced steel. And advanced steel, as you can see there, down there, is steel detailing and fabrication tool. So basically, what we're looking at is tools that are interoperable and allow for very smooth workflows where you don't keep losing data, and anyone can get involved in the project. AutoCAD is 60% more cost of a single sheet of architecture, engineering, and construction. So you can see there is a quite compelling value proposition. You get significant cost savings. You also have the ability to support your business today and into the future by being able to do by being able to indulge in the most cutting edge workflows. So, right now the industry is talking a lot about reality capture and point cloud using drones. That technology is supported by the software set that's included in the AEC industry collection. And this is like, for example, producing, what we call we have those tools embedded in there with the Dynamo Studio toolset, ETC. And it also allows you to manage operational costs. Essentially, instead of having to chase very many license types, you're essentially looking at one license type, and you're able to ramp up and down your investment because it's a subscription, not tied into having, once you buy a license, you have to stick with it for a long time. For it simplifies your software management and aligns the procurement process, because again, procuring one type of license to an entire office, and you don't need to move into a lot of trying to optimize how licenses of AutoCAD versus how many licenses of Evo 3D, things like that. Essentially, just to capture that, we're looking at better deals because you get more product for less money. And because these products will keep, Autodesk has committed to keep pushing updates and improvements. You're getting, continuous improvement. And this is comparing with the previous design and creation suites, things like the infrastructure design suite, the building design suite, which came in 6 different flavors and were only updated once a year. Also get quite an extensive number of or amount of cloud services. And the good thing about this is now you have expand access to those cloud services. So in having one person only accessing a set of cloud services per license, you give people per license accessing any set of cloud services based on a single seat of the software. You have flexibility and choice. Obviously, this is with regards to the design creation suite. We used to only be offered as single user access licenses. These have since been discontinued, and the industry collections still have the single user and multi-user access. And there is the simplified packaging. I quite extensively with a lot of customers, probably like yourselves in the audience today, talking about suite is ideal for them. Is it the infrastructure design suite standard? Is it premium? Is it the ultimate edition? Or you need to get 3 of these and 6 of these for your portfolio? So it becomes quite an expensive and convoluted discussion. But the industry collection, what is a very simplified package. So one package to the entire industry. Whether you're talking of infrastructure, whether you're talking of build, you one package, and use the products in there is really up to you. Some of the workflows that are possible with the products included in there. We got the architectural solution, where we're basically looking at the engineering, architecture workflows, right from concept design, where you start off with products like Formit and the Studio, the visual programming package that I was talking about, and then move that information seamlessly. So people remember, the idea here is you move from one stage to another, from one player to another. Information gained from the previous stage is transferred seamlessly to the next stage in the project, and that ensures that information remains coordinated. So use of coordination as essentially a thing of the past, and you also save quite a fair bit of time. Anyway, so from concept design, you've got tools that pick up and allow you to develop that into schematic and detailed design. And with detailed design, we talk, there is a tool here that I'll highlight that does for you your sustainability analysis, which is something quite significant nowadays. And the idea with this is you don't have to be in mental science to actually run some of these tools. Because they are very well integrated into the software, you will that they come naturally as part of the design process, which ought to be the case anyway if you want to do quality design for your clients. Of course, there is the question of visualization within architecture. Here you get the world leading visualization tool, 3S Max, natively consumes Revit and Formit files, and also a recently introduced software that does immersive visualization, Revit Live, that then seamlessly links with your Revit platform. So in terms of understanding how your design will look and communicating that to various stakeholders, we've covered. Then we move to documentation and coordination and actually delivering the project. We've got Navisworks Manage that does for you things like 4D, 5D simulation, and 6D simulations in terms of basically quantification, timelining, and of course there is cloud-based tools. The ones that you see on the bottom of your screen, the collaboration for Revit, allows you to work on a seamless on one file across different offices. The file would be based on the cloud, and you would pass it through your BIM 360, which which is a document management platform that again is cloud-based. Stingray is a game engine that allows you to do rapid visualization again and gamifying of your design through the 3ds Max and the Revit platform. So it's quite an extensive offering there already for architectural workflows. Looking at structure, again, with the Revit platform unifying the entire process, right from conceptual through to project delivery, and plug into those processes your analysis tools or your design tools, your structural design tools like robot structural analysis for Revit. AutoCAD, if you want to go the AutoCAD route, and Navisworks Manage is also useful for structural engineers. You want to do things like your clash detection, so that you're not going to be having fights with your mechanical engineer once you get to site. Not that mechanical engineers and structural engineers fight out, but look solution. Again, the one that ties them all is your platform, and we've got Recap Pro. Recap is a tool that allows you to consume, or rather to consume data from 3D laser scans and photogrammic surveys, connect these into point clouds, which you use in your design platforms like Revit and AutoCAD. We've got Insight. Obviously, MEP engineers will be key in doing the sustainability design and analysis for your project. And 3ds Max. I believe 3ds Max is a very powerful platform for lighting simulation, especially when you're looking at artificial lighting. Obviously, for a software to produce photorealistic renders, it needs to be able to simulate lighting in a very realistic manner. So you can take advantage of the same engine to run your lighting simulation. Then when it comes to fabrication, or especially your MEP, your mechanical fittings like ducts, hangers, etc., you've got fabrication set of tools that allow you to more realistic mechanical fittings, estimate very quickly what the materials, or get your builds very quickly, and move these to digital fabrication. So your CNC fabrication tools are included right there in your fabrication suite. Of course, move to construction. You've got Navisworks that allows you to coordinate with the team. Just moving on into land development, basically infrastructure as well. Again, we've got some tools that allows you to work right from concept through to completion. We've got the two key tools, which are your InfraWorks. So this is a very versatile tool that allows you to model large-scale planning and infrastructure projects very quickly by taking advantage of existing GIS information like or OpenStreetMaps data and satellite imagery to quickly generate existing topo, and then go ahead and make your design proposals on the context of the existing. Obviously, we've also got your AutoCAD Civil 3D that take conceptual design from InfraWorks seamlessly and develop into detailed design. You've got AutoCAD Map 3D, this is a product that allows you to consume and publish your data in GIS and then do a lot of analysis. So those of you who've been struggling with tools like tools that are designed for specific GIS workflows, don't necessarily tie your GIS information into the CAD or design environment, you try AutoCAD Map 3D, which will allow you to do a lot of GIS analysis, basically go into GIS databases, capture areas of interest, put them in CAD seamlessly, while preserving attributes, and do design, and then publish that updated design back into the GIS database for purposes of maintaining the GIS database in an up-to-date state. Obviously, infrastructure professionals design structures that need structural analysis. Here, talking of things like taking structures, etc. Robot as well is very capable in that area. So got Revit that is quite good at doing your detailing. You got vehicle tracking that does your path analysis, and even things like actually it does swept path analysis for a very wide array of vehicles, standard vehicles that is, and it allows you to do your parking design quite quickly and seamlessly. To the coordination bit of things, we've got again our Navisworks, which works seamlessly with things like AutoCAD Civil 3D, 3ds Max, and Recap. We've got cloud storage and collaboration tools as well, like the A360. This A360 actually is an umbrella term for a number of solutions which are useful in the AEC, in the infrastructure industry. Just to recap, so those are just sample workflows in different industries. Obviously, there is quite a lot more that the solutions that can do in terms of workflows, but really looking at giving you much more value for your money, flexibility in terms of the kind of products or services that you can offer your clients, and also simplicity in how you interact with your software and how you procure your software for your offices. Thinking of maybe that would be a very interesting thing to try. There is an offer that is ongoing that allows you to trade in your existing maintenance, or what is typically called perpetual licenses, whether it be a standalone product like AutoCAD, whether it be a suite like a building design suite. You can trade these in and get a very highly discounted rate for the architect, engineering, and construction collection. So you get one of our IDA colleagues to have a detailed discussion on your requirements. More information on the industry collections, the Autodesk website, autodesk.com/collections, where a wealth of information on the industry collection. So moving on, let's just jump into the idea of transitioning from AutoCAD into Revit. And
okay.
What are so just before I move on, let me remind you to please mute your microphones. I'm getting quite a bit of feedback from some of the participants. Thank you. So I look at Revit. A lot of people usually say, ask, Revit and what the difference is between Revit and AutoCAD. I'll just look at the user interface, which is basically based on the ribbon, idea of the single model or single database. Now, Revit is what we call a quick change engine. And here is that you're using intelligent objects and categories. So, for example, a door will be a door. It will know that it is a door. Therefore, it would be a typical door is an opening within a wall. So your door will always nest itself within a wall because there is, in real life, there is that relationship between the two elements. And when we take the wall itself, it will that it has a core, structural core, and probably finishes on the exterior or the interior, as opposed to just being a simple. Now, then, of course, these objects are 3D objects, and they have intelligence. Now, this intelligence means that they can relate to one another. So, there is the concept of by associativity between concepts and annotations. In fact, because bidirectional association, you'll find that making changes in Revit is quite easy, obviously compared to simpler softwares that don't have this bidirectional, this parametric change engine. And in fact, the ease making changes is what made what inspired the name Revit, which is a contraction of the two device and it. So the change engine is on what they call context-driven parametrics, allow it to be very scalable, and changes to parameters drive the whole model, how the whole building model and associated documentation appear to the user and just individual elements. So the idea of a single database that is changing, whether you're talking of a plan, whether you're talking of an elevation, is really the distinguishing aspect of Revit. And you have to link data from your traditional CAD sources. Let me quickly have a look at the Revit interface. I'm sure used Revit, but allow me to take you through the interface. What you have here is 2018 start page or home page, and you have a number of things. You have a couple of templates that are available to you on the home screen. Obviously, you've got an equivalent setup in AutoCAD where you have templates to do different things. In which you have templates for different disciplines, and then behind this is different disciplines, of course, need and offices even need different standards with which to work. And since it is a multidisciplinary platform, then you get different templates for different disciplines. So these here are some of the projects that I've recently worked on, and then down you get some of the families that I've recently worked on. In the Revit environment, families translates to roughly are equivalent to your AutoCAD blocks. The major difference being that they have embedded intelligence, the so parameters are embedded within them that drive the intelligence or the information with your model. So I'll go ahead and open, and so that's your start screen. There's a couple of resources available to you there where you can get help and learning. So if you're absolutely new to the platform, you can go and have a look at some of these workflow videos. Of interest is the Autodesk App Store, which has an extensive collection of extensions for Revit and Revit community, where you can get a lot of support by your fellow users globally to help you out with any issues that you might run into when you are using the software, or really just any questions that you might have regarding the software. So a sample project, and I simply click on this particular project, or go to the file menu and open an existing project. This, since this is a sample project, I'll just navigate to my sample files, and I'll get your traditional Windows dialog. Revit Works is up on the Windows platform. So here I'm looking at my sample project. I'll basic sample project that you can see there. So open that. Take into my Revit project. In terms of the user interface, we basically have a number of similarities and the differences with AutoCAD. To keep referring to AutoCAD, since this particular session is going to focus a lot on making the move from AutoCAD into Revit. Now, the whole platform, most other Autodesk softwares, is based on what we call the BIM interface. This was introduced to the Windows environment some time back. I believe it was around 2009, 2008. But don't take me. That's around the time it was introduced. Have let me move into a project. Our tabs for that group different workflows or tasks together, and the tabs you have panels. So you've got, for example, the spaces and zones panel, which groups tools that have similar functionality together. So our spaces and zones panel, and as you've seen, I was able to expand it to show more tools. So you have the ability to expand those some of those panels, and even so that's when you get the drop down arrow, or you get a diagonal down arrow. You actually open that to open settings. Here we are looking at building and type settings. To go into this, some of this information is quite detailed, you can see, and the idea again to underscore with building information modeling is the information part of BIM. So just give you a glimpse of some of the information that we get. So this is space, building types that we have in here. So for automotive facility, your standard this is according to British standards. Of course, these standards are defined with your template. So here I'm looking at my warehouse in terms. So this is an automotive facility. The area assigned per person, power load density, occupancy schedules, etc. etc. So I can go ahead and edit some of these, and even really far into this to changing my occupancy schedules in terms of obviously the occupancy schedule, as you can see there. So there's quite a bit of information that's available to you, various options that you have. So here I'm just looking at the analysis tab, which is one thing that also sets Revit apart from your standard CAD applications. Since you're dealing with intelligent objects, so I'll pick my wall, for example. So the highlighting behavior is very similar to what you get in AutoCAD. So I'll pick my wall and parameters. So I'll just edit this type. So I've got my analytical properties in there, both for your MEP side of things and structural side of things. So this is the structural material. I can go ahead and edit this further and have a look at it. Mostly this is, let me look at this. So this is a simple construction. I can go have a look at some of my materials. Brings me into my material browser, etc. So the Revit is to allow you to put information into your various objects. Let me get back to my panel. So we've got a ribbon up here. I've got a quick toolbar here, which is basically a couple of shortcuts that you have on top there. On the left, my properties palette, which added into it the so-called type selector. If you go back into my architecture tab and pick a door, you can see my properties palette has changed, has my ribbon. I'll just on the properties palette and go back to my ribbon in a few moments. But you here, I'm able to pick the type of door that I require to use in my project. So and the name of that particular palette as the type selector. This is your properties in here. And in Revit, you'll work quite a lot with properties. And like in the case of Auto, you can get away by closing this and just drafting as you traditionally would. We've got the project browser. Now, I mentioned that Revit is actually one 3D database. So go ahead and open the project in its entirety. So you see that's my 3D model. But I also have several other windows open in the background. So I'll go to my View tab and type Windows. You see so I'll open this and say zoom all to fit so that all of those can zoom into place. Now, model space. All these are model space except, of course, this, which is layout, but it would translate to your paper space in AutoCAD, and this as your model space. Now, what we have are different views of the same model. So, for example, if I was to zoom into this part, first, let me use level 2 and head, and let me close this particular view. Then I tile those again, and the keyboard shortcut Z then A. So just in AutoCAD, I type in Z, but AutoCAD, and just take note of my status bar down there. And like AutoCAD, I won't press space or enter. I'll just type A, and that will zoom me back in office. I think I took too much time, so Z A, everything, will zoom all to fit. So again, that's something else to keep in mind. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and select that particular window, and see that it has all become selected in my 3D view. And if I go ahead and drag it there, it will show there. Now, into intelligence, it tells that there are some constraints. You can see that error there. There are some constraints that were not satisfied. And in this case, let me just maximize this plan. You can see that this window was aligned to this grid line. I can see that it's highlighted in orange and the window. So it's showing me that there was a relationship that exists there that I need to react to. So in this, I can just remove the constraint or cancel that particular operation. Let me cancel that operation and move out of zoom out. I'll try my windows again, WT. So this is project browser. So I'm able to open, different views, whether it be 3D views or elevations. These are, views of the same underlying model, and your project browser allows you to and interrogate that database, that model that you're talking about. Obviously, you can also integrate 2D rendered view. So this is a view of a red view of this particular view. Let's go ahead and close all those windows in the background so that I can type WT and then see the same view, but it has been rendered into a photorealistic 2D view while still retain our 3D view. There are sort of operations that you can do. I have schedules as well, and those are indeed part and parcel of the 3D model, and they are considered views just like you have your 2D views. Perhaps the best way to illustrate that, let me go into my level 1 view. Like this, you can see you've got a number of spaces, a number of rooms in our model. So what I'll do is I'll create a new view, a schedule view. In this, I'll go and just create a schedule. And the schedule that I want to create is a schedule. Or you can schedule just about any category within the Revit environment. And that's why it's so good at doing your takeoffs. In this, I'm just interested in my rooms. I'll say, and it will be this particular dialog box. So interested in what are these rooms in, what name is this room, what areas these rooms have, and I can begin to have, what's the room and number. Let me put this area parameter down here. What's finish? Let me look for that. What's my ceiling finish? I can even go ahead and add comments in there. So once I get to that, it creates a room schedule, and interesting enough, it has not the room schedule. Let me do so that schedule has not worked for me. Let me look at why it's not new one. I believe the reason it did not created is because I did that for the wrong days of the project. So give me, I wasn't careful with that. So in this case, I use working drawing space, create the same schedule. So these rooms, this looking at the area of the room, the level. I don't need an image, need the number. We're looking at floor finish. Finish. So I go ahead and rearrange these levels. So I'll push down. And when I OK, it gives my rooms. Now I can open level 1 and that's side by side with schedule. So I've got various rooms on level 1 and 2. I'm interested in only level 1. So what I'll do is I'll filter out my schedule. So for my filter by level, and I only want the room level 1. Okay, so that gives me only the rooms in level 1. I'm just trying to make this into a shorter list. Now we've got a room here that's called kitchen and dining. I'll click tag. So this is just a tag, and change the name of the room to maybe a lounge. Look at, if you're careful, I'm just going to press F, and I want you to keep your eyes on this name here. When I press enter, it changed. So a number of things have changed. The color fill has changed, but name has changed. You go and select it and say kitchen, and I'm typing from my schedule. So I use this to kitchen and lounge. I'm not sure name, but it doesn't matter. You can see it has changed back to what was. So you use that are presented to you in form of tables and presented to you in form of graphical plans, sections, etc. But all of them are views of the same self underlying Revit model. So that's about the user interface. You've got your schedule, your project browser, and your properties palette. Now, I mentioned that I would go back to this ribbon. If I go back to my architecture tab and a wall or tool for that matter, you notice my ribbon has changed to give me a context where I'm able to work with the tool that's selected. Get these contextual tabs that appear in the tool that you have selected, and also very important, you've got your options bar up here, which essentially allows you to modify your tool as compared to the command line in AutoCAD. So that's one thing you need to keep your eye on when you're working with Revit. These contextual tabs. They sometimes get when you're new to the software, you select tool and suddenly you wonder, where did I get lost? Always look at the contextual tab, and you want to get back to safety, select the modify tool or hit escape 3-4 times. Typically that will get you back the last tab that you had or that you are using. So you can see there I've selected a column, I've selected an terminal. In this case, no terminal is loaded, and say it's going to prompt me to load the family. Say yes or no. If yes, it opens up my default library. In case at the UK library, in here we tend to use British standards quite a lot. So set that up as my default library. I'm going to mechanical equipment, and I'll pick air components, I'll pick air terminals, I'll pick diffuser. In this case, let me just pick that, which is not listed, and I'm able to place it. But again, you can see my contextual tab is looking different than I had a door, for example, or when I had an isolated foundation element. So is that to keep in mind. So an overview of what you can do with how the user interface looks like. Now you're wondering what this is. This is called the PNID modeler, as it proudly announces there. This is slightly more advanced tool that allows you to take your plan and instrumentation layouts from out of plant 3D and convert them into Revit models. So this is a slightly more advanced tool, allows you to consume very specific types of CAD information, in this case PNID layouts. But I'll go ahead and close that. We will not be needing it for a particular session. The thing on the user interface I'll talk about is these panels that can be moved and placed anywhere on your screen. So in this case, I've gone ahead and placed it my project browser on the left side of my screen, and I can expand it to whatever is appropriate, or I can actually nest these two together. In this, I've got one, sorry, it went up there. So one panel that is comprised of my properties panel and my project browser. I can turn this off, get my two panels back, and then put them back to just as were before. So for session, I'll keep my panels in that particular position. Let me go to our particular files. I'll no to those changes, and we have to our start page. I want to go into the aspect of using AutoCAD, and really what we're going to look at is why you to be using an AutoCAD file within Revit and bring those AutoCAD files into Revit. Of course, bringing CAD files to topo service, as I had mentioned some time back, references to trace over when you're converting a 2D layout into a 3D layout, or just utilize as a background where you don't want to model a background. So for example, your site, if you've got a civil engineer and they plotted out the site and you just want to show that in your, for example, architectural layouts, you can do that. You can use DGs to detail as well. And the most common case for this is where you have detailed libraries that you worked on. So I'm sure many of you have worked in offices that have been in existence, probably before Revit came on the scene, and you have an extensive set of details that you reuse in your projects because you don't need to reinvent the wheel, even to incorporate manufacturer data sets into your project. So, dive into my AutoCAD. Here, got a DWG file that is sort of what you get from, say the architect has made their proposal. They went ahead and put together a bunch of views into one DWG file, which in model space, or even you've got your paper space. So I've not really set this up with a title block or anything. It's just a sample file, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's in the industry works, but it's not good for use as DWG, as for use in Revit. What you want to do is to go ahead and make sure that different are in individual DWG. What I mean by that is ahead and a new DWG. Of course, to use the appropriate template for my office. In this case, I'll just use the default template. I'll go ahead and pick up my layouts. So I'll pick that. I'll just do a Control-C and drop it in my blank my new blank file. So put it there. You want to be careful to have your layout at origin or as close to the origin as possible, and you have what we call a system of shared coordinates, in which case we'll want to preserve those coordinates, whether you're far from the origin or not. If I just want to stay at the origin, in fact, I'm going to move my site to the origin and sorry, this side there. So about that, I need to go ahead and save this layout. In this case, save it. I've got my site plan. So that's my site there. I'm going to save it as such. Since I already created that, I won't save. But effectively, what you end up with is each layout in this set needs to be in its own new drawing. Now, what all those saved in as individual drawings in AutoCAD, we now move into Revit. And here I'll start off with perhaps the structural template, as we're going to make a structural proposal. Here is to go to the Insert tab, and what we want to do. Do we want to link the file, or do we want to import the file? Now, I will always recommend that you want to link the file rather than import the file. And the advantages of linking and importing, the biggest one is to update that DWG whenever it is updated by whoever you are working. So if revisions that are coming in, or it's a preliminary proposal, instead of from scratch, if you've just linked, then what we want to do is to simply update that link, pretty much like your extras in AutoCAD. In this case with CAD, but as you can see, you can link Revit files, use IFC files, and link DWF files that have markups. You can raster images, point clouds, you can your ordination models. This is Navisworks files, and then you can links. This is the setup that allows you to refresh or reload and update files, which is available to you if you import. So import is limited to CAD files. So again, your DWG, your GBXML. So this is your building XML file format for your mechanical analysis. In this case, you're looking at calculated supply airforce, etc. You can insert views from other Revit files, images as well, or families from libraries. Today, in linking CAD files, and I'll go ahead and click link CAD file to navigate to where I was where I had saved my my files. So that's location, and I'm going to be working on this particular location. I can go ahead and add it so that it will always be easily available when I come into data from here. So I'll go to my CAD plan, and what I was looking for, I'm currently in level 2. Now I'll go ahead and say I want to link my CAD or my file on a piece of internal positioning, origin to origin. Just go back into AutoCAD. Remember, this is my origin in AutoCAD. The question is where origin in Revit. Yeah. Let me go. I want to. Would you like to save the changes you made? That's this. I'll say no. So I see my origin here, but actually make it visible by revealing hidden elements. So you put an origin there. I'll select it and hide those two. Those are unhidden. Okay. In this case, those will not be visible. So that is my origin. If I click on that, you can see it be my origin, my coordinates, and my rotation of the angle of the true north. And let me close that. So now if I come in to link this CAD, so that looks red from me again. This is so let me add so that I don't have to look for it again. So if I'm looking for my floor plan site, and in this for my position, I'll tell it to be on the and preserve my colors. I can have or invert. I'll show you both. In terms of input units, I'll let it to auto detect. If I know that I'm using whatever that are coming in, then I can choose those units. The auto detect function is pretty spot on most of the time. In terms of I can specify if I only want the visible layers or specify the set of layers that I want. This specify and click on open. It will of the import and let me choose what I want to be imported into file. And I'll say okay to that, and there we've got our has been imported. Now this has 2D elements, but and is pinned, so I can't move it. And in fact, visible in my 3D view. So there you can see, it's a flat. It's a WG. I cheated and simply exported a Revit view, flat DWG, and it means at because I imported it at level. If I select that, that's actually my DWG, and I know that because my properties, it's telling me this is my floor plan site, and it means at level 2. Let me go into level 1 and do something slightly different. I'll my CAD file, but in case I only want it to be visible in my current view. So I'll go to my level 1, and I have auto origin to origin. I want all my layers to come in. Import units will auto detect, and I'll go and open that. So see, it has brought in a specific layout, which if I go into my 3D view, and here I'll go into my 3D view from my browser, you can really see the level site which I had put into level 2. And on any other view apart from the original view in which we imported that file. So this particular one is only visible in this specific view. If I wanted it to be visible in other views, I need to undo that. This again, and in this case, I remove the requirement. So I'll bring in floor level 1 and open that. So I've got that open. Now, obviously, if I can position it as and start tracing over this. So the most important thing for me, I find, is to make sure that I get my data terms correct. And the way to do this is, so I'll go into structure. You can use from the architecture panel, the structure for the heck of it. I'll take my and just draw grid as it were. But what to do is to use my pick lines tool to pick off grids one by one. That will ensure that they're exactly coincidental and they offsets by 2 millimeters or the small errors that you generally get when you start drafting, especially when you're drafting in a hurry. So I'll pick that and pick off my grids one. You can see in terms of the naming, they are basically following that convention. That is not an automatic feature. It's just that grid, when you start creating them for the first time, start from 1 all the way through to 7. So I'll pick my horizontal grid A. You can see it's reporting as grid number 8. I'll come there and call that A and just continue. So you can very quickly using the that proposed building. So that's far as the grids are concerned. I can just pull these out. I'll notice that, my grids are referencing that that BWE underlay. I do, they are distinct elements, as it were. So now ahead and start looking at my levels. So I'll open my east elevation, and you can see obviously there is something wrong with my levels. If I go back into my AutoCAD, my east elevation, so I had an east elevation from the architect and the levels that they are working with. Mine in my Revit not accurate. So what I need to do is put that elevation. So I'll go back to my insert tab and link that killer CAD file. So I'll look for it. At least in this, since I don't want it to go onto a vertical plane, what is I had these levels. What I'll do is I'll tell it how do you want it to go the current view. That will need to it in vertical and leave everything as is, and go ahead and this. But if I just quickly go back into my AutoCAD, you'll know that in AutoCAD the yellow lines are very easy to see because I'm working with a black background. But with a background, make that those are difficult to see. So because they're in a black environment, I want to invert them since this is a white environment, a white background. So I'll do that and bring it in. and you can see the colors have been inverted, making those levels a bit easier to see. So I'll take this guy, and you can see there it's automatically it's pinned upon import. Move the pin. Then I need to go ahead and start aligning this DWG to the grid that I have existing in my project. So up to my module and the align tools. So here I've got a suite of tools that look very similar to CAD. Some of them actually they do the same thing, but probably you'll find order of operations is a bit different. So if I take my align tool, I want to align G, so my reference, and I pick the element that I want to be aligned to, line G. Then in terms of my levels, level 1, which is at 0. So I can see I have my levels, and what I can do is I can quickly select this guy and just come here. So I've got view control down here and hide that element temporarily, so I can see what I'm working on. So I'll come this and just the extent of my level. I'll just unhide this. I'll reset that. My architecture tab this time, so I can put my levels from the structure or architecture tab. Same tool, absolutely no difference. I pick my level, and instead of drawing them out, in this case, I'll again pick lines. So the good thing is, you keep picking lines. So at my level and my C level. Okay, so level 2 and the two levels in the WG and in the Revit file are coinciding, so I'm happy with that. I will pick out this living room, so that out, and you can see I've got that has come in. It's come as level 3, so I'll need to just rename it as level 1 living room to keep being consistent with that I'm trying to work with. I'll say so. It came a project browser, and that I want to rename that. I'll say yes. So you see there it's been renamed as level 1 living room. I'm happy with that. I can been called level 4. I'll go ahead and rename it as foundation. Spelling tricky. Yes, I want to rename the corresponding view. So that until I, all the proof line, the appropriate levels. I've got this, which is being called level 6. That's ceiling. Now, to select this guy, keyboard cut H, then H. I'll have that. So I want to just levels to be the same. So I'll select all this visual in view, and then again and maximize the 3D extent of those. In this case, where you've got an overlap, allows you to think your level, so that you get slightly neat graphics. Pull that in. It doesn't do anything to change your level. It just allows you to be a bit of so with that, I'll do the same thing for you've got constraints that together. So now that I have my data elements set up, going in to do the actual modeling. And in this case, I'll go back to my level where I have proposed in my model element. So I choose to maybe work with columns or even to trace the existing. So in terms of if I was to pick my columns and select the appropriate type of structural element that I want to have in this particular building. So if my I sections or whatever framing that I want to work with in this case. So I think more comfortable with the concrete frame, and I think it will be a bit easier to display. What is I can start putting in my structural or architectural or even MEP elements by one, or you can take advantage of intelligence in Revit. So I'll put my grids, my concept specific grids. So excuse me, I'll have the grids that I want, and you get a preview of grids that it will have columns on. So what to do is I don't want these columns here inside the space. So I'll start from the selection, add a few more of these guys. So when finished, to create those particular columns, I can do my quick access toolbar and have the columns that have been put in place. So these columns, these that was to open a shaded view or inline view. You can see that my DWGs, reference DWGs, I can hide those. And so we're going to, create our, we are starting to create our, excuse me, let me put these guys where they belong. Slowly based on the DWG that we imported. Now, in some cases, you can actually start referencing the geometry in the DWG. For example, if I wanted to come in and put in a retaining wall, so we have a retaining wall. You can see that it's actually snapping to intersections and satellite. So you can, draft with confidence that you are referencing geometry as author probably intended. In cases where, like for example, this particular corner, I'm not too confident. What I can do is to bring my wall just up to a point where I'm pretty confident I've got it correctly, and bring the other wall that way. Then I'll trim them to join. So for purposes of clarity, I'll just temporarily hide the DWG. In this case, H is my shortcut. So that's the actual model that we have. And I'll go ahead and go to the modify panel and use trim to trim. So we are slowly, if I go back into my 3D, we are slowly starting to get our structural model going based on information that we brought in from that DWG. So those are just some quick tips on how to use those EWGs. Two last things that I want to point out. Now, we imported, if I was just to reset this, we imported what was effectively a flat piece of terrain. Typically, you'll have contours like we have in here. And what you can do, if I would just start a new and in this case, I want to use the architectural template. A new project, and I've gotten a topo survey from Mavia. I want to link that into my project and start using it for my design proposal. I'm looking at what is a site plan, my insert tab. So note that the tools don't change depending on the plate that you're using. The tools are exactly the same. It's that the views are set up in slightly different ways, and I think would be a topic for another webinar. In this case, let me link a topic. So I've got on topo. Again, I won't bother much with positioning or the colors, leave the colors as is, but I want to bring in a sample for survey, and that can, you see it's a bit off to the side from my center point. Now, if you've got real-world coordinates, you can actually use your so-called shared coordinates. Now, I've brought this in as EWG, and if I go to my 3D view, see it. Let me go back to site just to confirm something. I did bring it in correctly, so let me go to Map and manage links. Let me remove it. Link it again. So I'll insert this. So I'll be linked to current view. So make sure that it's visible in all views. So I'll go ahead and open. It comes in that position. I'll unpin it to somewhere close to the center. Or if I wanted to, I can go ahead and change my survey point to one of the moved my project base point rather than my survey point. So tab and select the correct thing. Move it to one of the beacons to get proper coordinates within my project. So you can see my page. So this is my project base point, my internal survey point, and this is my base point. So I can go into those in another session. But once I got in my DWG, look at it in the 3D view. It has come in with the Z data, the height data. Or elevation data is only specific to such area. For example, my block information is on. Yeah, what I can do is to use some of that information to recreate my topo surface, which I can use for my design. And the process for that is my masking and site tab and choose topo surface. Then that is contextual tab where I can place points, elevation to a topo. So for example, if I started off with 100,000, 200,000, and 2 points at 20,000, so I'm just something with extreme variation so that you can appreciate what's happening. So I put in something there, but excuse me. Do that would be quite tedious. What I want to do is to create from an import. So I can specify a points file. So if my surveyor shared with me that data, or I can select from an instance. In this, the instance I'm interested in is the DWG. And the information is both 2D and that has elevation. So not layers have the height information I'm looking for. I'll only for the layers that have so my major and minor contours. So I want to have opened this up in DWG and in your AutoCAD and had a look at it, know which are your relevant layers. So I've picked import instance of that out now. So and that means my terrain. So that is faithful the contours of as per the surveyor as per survey. So now I'm my topo. I can go ahead and start putting my roads or even my design as it were. So that's one way of yet another use for these what do we call them? These DWGs within Revit environment. I'll go back to my sample project use case for using these these. And I'll go back into my my plan views, possibly my site plan there. And I just want to put in a detail here. So, for example, I've section a bunch of existing sections. So if I was to go into level 1, you see this section, like this building section. If I was opening it, there is yet another section that has been created there. And how you create these is simply by creating callouts. So, for example, I can go to my view tab. Always you're working with one model, and the view are simply snapshots of that model. So, create a callout, and that code will have that detail. For example, so callout by double clicking on it, you you'll see my my model there, and actually go ahead and literally use Revit like AutoCAD, but using its notation tools, where I can say, for example, put in detail line to represent. Let me just put in a very simple in this Agata. Wasn't to win me any architectural awards, but you know, so that's just my line work. I can, let me delete that and use what will be a 2 CAD block, but in Revit it's basically called a detail component. So put in a detail component, and in this case I want to have I'll go into my library and load my detail items. In this case, let me look for from Mason, yes, floor, room, sanitary. I should have taken note where to get this. Let me example look window view. So this is detail of a window view. So if we the appropriate type of window, let me place that there and just bring my section down so that I can you notice how we are expanding the extent of the section to give me the relevant part of the model that I want. Go ahead and flip this guy and place somewhere there and make it work as a scale of sorts. So that takes a lot of effort and planning. But if I had a relevant detail that I had done previously, I can actually link it in as a detail. And how I would do that, let me go back to my site. Let me go to my view. So I'll create a section, and this is pretty much how you create sections in Revit. So I'm just looking at that particular walkway, extent of my section. That section is basically section 1. You can see here in my project browser. So I'll open it, and that's section 1. So I want to have a whip hole detail there, which I got from a manufacturer. So what I'll do is I'll go to my view and create call out. So you know, the last call out that I created was actually looking at that model. Now I need to reference a different view, in this case a new drafting view. So I'll go ahead and that section. So I put in the call out. Is that my call out? Let me just change my my scale there so that my detail is a bit less clunky. You know that if I open this call out, it gives me a blank space. What's happening here? What's happening is I've told this call out to refer to a drafting view, which is down there. So let me open the drafting view, and now I can come in and link up a manufacturer detail or an existing detail from library detail. So I'll look for an appropriate and this I can say I only want to color the white. My position in this case does not really matter. And I want players to come in, and I want to also detect the. You go ahead and open, and that can as you know detail. I can add obviously if I want to change the manufacturer's typing block, the detail from not really any endorsement but you typically get such details from manufacturers. Now become part and parcel of my project. So what I go ahead and do is I've got my site plan. On my plan, you can see that section reference there, my section 1. What is, I'll go ahead and drag it from there and place it there as a detail. And you can, the moment I bring it in, it gives a reference. It says this is the third drawing in layer number A101. And for sure, if you let your project browser, you can see A1. Then ahead and look at the call out, and so that is my call out 1. I'll go drag it into the project, and you see now it's being referred as the detail for that particular callout, and have that particular manufacturer detail incorporated into our project as part and parcel of project. So these are the key the use cases for the WGs in the Revit environment. So with that, I'll invite the questions. I hope and then session. So a number of questions. Let me quickly read through them. I don't know whether that's directed to me. Which country are you from? I am from Kenya. I'm currently talking to you from Kenya. And once need to shed light on measurement tools available for so just go into Revit. As I enter the primary tool, let me remove the chat there. Zoe, obviously, if there's more questions, you can let me know. So it's a bit off topic, and for sure we will have a different session that goes into for doing your takeoffs. The primary tools that you have for quantify project would be schedules. So you can see you have your schedules like the room element schedules that I created. You have graphical column schedule. Obviously, that's for your structural columns. And you have a material takeoff where you can take off different materials as used in your project. So those are three tools that we have for takeoff. The specific tool called the area book, building book, room book extension. This is freely available with any subscription to Revit. It's an extension that allows you to easily, areas, specific building elements and specific elements within inside environment, and even export these to Excel. You can export your schedules. So that I can actually export my schedule. I'll export and so I click on. So I should export a schedule from there into Excel. So for my schedule purposes, it usually comes out as a delimited text file, but you can simply open that in Excel and you'll get your quantities in there. The question is used for interior designing. Very much so. The answer is an emphatic yes. You just go back into this. Obviously, what you want to do is to set up different views for your interior design. I've got a couple of levels here. So what I can do is to just have for my living room. I can use my callout. I'll go to view and I'll create a callout. Now callout will, in terms of so that's a callout of my living room. I can go ahead to do is to start changing the properties of this particular callout. So sorry, let me close this. Let me also close my PNID modeler. Pick a specific callout. I have a couple of things. I can give it a discipline which is architectural. and discipline of okay, so that is not quite set up. See discipline. So you can have disciplines in this case. These disciplines that are coded in architecture, but interior design will be looks like the power has gone on this side. Give about a moment to just try and get him back up and running. Sorry about that, guys. The generator should be back up running in a moment. But the answer to the question is yes, Revit can be used for interior design. All you need to do is to slightly modify what we call the architectural views, capture the different interior elevations, to even design specific elements, interior design elements. If it's areas of painting that you want to do, if it's to specify materials, pretty much, the keys that go with activities that go with my back on. So for that, guys, me make sure. So you want to modify your settings so you can have the different that are relevant to you. So here I've just created a call out of my living room. I go ahead and create an extension inside of my of my space and start to exploit. And you can have that has actually snapped to the ends of that particular elevation. So if I was to go back into level 1, so I start having various views for material design purposes. Even in terms of placing components, in terms of side table. Yeah, that's coming. So I can just click those bleed. Let me see if I have anything else. So I've my obviously this is probably not work out well for me from a design perspective. Then I'll go ahead and go into my view tab, 3D view, and place a cover just to that particular layout. So I can then go ahead and change in terms of view, start looking at, drawing my my model, just through it. I'm not terribly good at using this so-called, but that essentially is what, now I find myself building, and I was trying to do some interior design. Let me change my, yeah. So that answers your question to some extent. It's not exhaustive, but I hope it answers your question. So thank you much, everyone. I think I'll leave it at that for today. Can join us on Thursday for those interested in had another interruption. Thank you on Thursday, same time. For those who are interested in civil engineering, we're having another session where my colleague Shoaib and Elijah, civil engineers, to take us through some of our offerings in the civil space. So much. Good afternoon.
For participating in the webinar. If you have any questions and you would like Mwaki to answer any questions, you're welcome to put it on the chat. We can give a few minutes for that. And do is I will read the question and Mwaki can answer it.
So enter back to you.
With questions, if you'd like to ask any questions, please let me know. If anybody's got any questions, you want to ask a question if you'd like. There's from Kamal. Will it be possible to have a copy of the recorded video? Yes, definitely. We will be posting the recording on YouTube, the iTechnology YouTube channel, and it will be available soon. An email will be sent out to you with the link to view the recording on the YouTube.